Terrific, terrible, and terrifying. What's the difference? Following on from our video from last Tuesday, here's another combination of false friends that share a common root in Latin and which can give speakers of French or speakers of Spanish a lot of trouble. Today, we're going to look at the combination of terrible, terrifying, and terrific. So we've got a three-way set of false friends. This set of words provides a really good example of how word meanings can change over time and why the word in French or Spanish can be more aligned with the original word in Latin, but it ends up meaning something completely different in modern day English. So let's start with the pair of terrible and terrifying. Both of these share a root in Latin, terere, which means to fill with fear. In French, terrible still means something close to terrifying, something which causes terror. But in the 12th century, you start seeing the meaning of terrible move away from fill with fear to mean something that was closer to severely or greatly by the 18th century. Think of, very formal, English movies you might have seen where somebody gets called a terrible bore or someone else says they have a terrible headache. This is one example of how meaning can change over time. Terrifying keeps that original meaning of filled with fear, but terrible starts making a change. We've already seen how terrible started moving away from being a synonym for terrifying. So, what happened to terrific? How did it go from meaning something frightening to something amazing? Terrific comes from the Latin terrificus, which is the adjective form of terere, as we saw before, which means to fill with fear. Something interesting happened about 200 years ago. Terrific diverged and started meaning great and excessive in the same way that terrible did. And then terrific, about 130 years ago, takes another turn. The idea of excessive almost ends up meaning the opposite of the original meaning by the 1870s and 1880s. So we've gone from meaning filled with fear to amazing. Isn't English fun? So if you've ever wondered how terrific got detached from its original meaning of scary, that's basically what happened. And here on the side, we can see some examples of how we've moved from that idea of scary to great or excessive to amazing. And as always, if you have any questions or any comments, don't hesitate to get in touch. I can be reached by email at did2a2learning@gmail.com or via Instagram at the handle @yourlangteacher. Thanks very much and talk to you soon.